So Dr. Juhl, tell us a little bit about. First, I want to understand, how do you get involved in the finishing industry? It's not something that a lot of people get involved with, but kind of tell us how your career path led to that.
Yeah. Yeah. First of all, I want to thank you for
Hmm.
asking me to come by and be a legend, because as I said, I didn't really think about myself as a legend, but I'm honored. But it is, of course, because I have been in the industry for a long time. It started all by a Ph.D. at the Technical University of Denmark. I was asked if I wanted to try to look into pulse anodizing, which had been on the market for 10, 15 years at that time. I was asked to try to compare different types of pulse anodizing with the DC direct current anodizing, and both on type 2 and type 3 anodizing. So that was kind of the way it started, but probably it started even before that when I did my master, because I had a great supervisor who was doing, he called it CMT, corrosion measurement by titration. And I was a student of his, so I did a lot of um, uh, current corrosion test at that time, and a lot of it was actually on aluminum. So that was kind of, well, that's a great, it's great material. It's light, and if you have to bring it from one place to another, you don't have to, carry around a bag
Right.
of steel, but you can carry about the lightweighted aluminum. So that was really great. So that
Right.
was kind of the first way I got into to the
Well,
aluminum
yeah.
and anodizing.
Yeah. Well, where did you grow up? Where were you born? Where did you grow up? And
I'm born in Denmark,
Mhm.
in Copenhagen, the main city, the
Mhm.
capital of Denmark. So the Technical University lies 25 minutes drive from me, and I didn't really see myself become. I'm a chemical engineer, so
Mhm.
it was more like the chemical part which started it. So
Right.
getting more into the material and the metal of aluminum, it has really been a long education for me over the last 25 years, because you cannot gain a good surface finishing of aluminum if you don't
Right.
know the material and how the metallurgical history has been of the material before you start anodizing it. So all in all, kind of just jump
Right.
into the because of coincidence.
Right. But having a strong chemistry background, I guess, really, piqued your interest in that. And it is a combination of metallurgy and chemistry, right? I mean, it is the
Yeah,
marriage of those two, and really
yeah.
understanding how they interact and those type of things. At what point, I guess, did you realize that metallurgy or anodizing was going to be something that you really wanted to focus on a lot?
Yeah, I think that doing a PhD, kind of, you're
Hmm.
really digging really deep into the matter, and
Hmm.
it kind of made me feel that this is the right place for me to be, and also I could see that having the chemical education, the background, and I think it's also, yeah, we will probably talk more about this, but that is something I really see a lot in the anodizing industry, that they forget that they are a chemical company,
Right.
because instead they actually look themselves as a metal industry. So it kind of got to be my whole project, the goal of my life, to try to explain to the anodizing companies that it is so important to know the chemistry, and that anodizing is not black magic. It actually is a chemical process, follow a lot of rules.
Right. Yeah, it can be
Yeah.
controlled. Things can go wrong if you don't know what you're doing, or you're
Yeah.
not aware, like you said, and have that. And it seems to me, it's like you said, it's the metallurgy, it's the chemistry, it's the engineering. I think one of the things you have to know is, what do they want to do with this? How do they
Yeah.
want it to
Yeah.
last, and those type of things. So it really kind of takes all of that in, which I think, as a scientist, that's got to be right down your alley, that you like to kind of sink your teeth into and get into solving those types
Yeah,
of problems.
yeah, definitely. And I think that it you made a point there that to have the possibility to educate, also to make sure that the people actually know the theory, because often I see anodizing as a people see it as a mature process, and we have been
Hmm.
working on this for so long. There are these. Um, I'm calling them old guys in the anodizing industry who have been there for a long time. They know how to tweak around, but it's actually tribal knowledge, and it's often difficult to change that thought of
Right.
being a garage company to being a company where it's important documentations,
Right.
controls, and all this stuff. And we also see it because the customers, the anodizing, the people, the customers who come and buy the anodizing, they are having more and more demands. And I think that is really something the anodizing
Right.
industry have to look into, because it's so much more demanding than just 10 years ago.
Right.
Especially, of course, if you have been working for the aerospace industry, there has been a
Right.
long history of documentation, but also smaller and more, the industry like the mechanical, like the medical industry,
Yeah.
also hi-fi, other things. They are all having higher demands of documentations. So
Right.
so that's really an
Right.
important part.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Yeah,
it's getting more. It's getting more
yeah,
with that.
yeah, yeah,
Your career has been, you've been all over the world, in consulting, and your business, AluConsult, and really where you're coming in, and I guess, to kind of describe for me, is it where you're troubleshooting, or is it sometimes where they want a new set of eyes to look at how they're doing their processes, which I find is something that a lot of manufacturers and companies do not do enough of bring somebody in who's a subject matter expert and have them kind of look at it to take it to the next level. But is it more troubleshooting, or is it just kind of coming in and looking to see how things are operating? They want you to look at it and give them your
yeah,
opinion on things.
yeah. I believe that for many years it has actually been troubleshooting. The burning
Hmm.
platform, something is going wrong. We need to
Right.
someone. Can you solve it? But I also see in the last couple of years that there has been an openness to say we need to know more. We need to figure
Right.
out, instead of just uh, um, hosing the fire, then actually figure out what's going on. And I also
Right.
back to the old guys who have been there for a long time. So we
Right.
see new people coming in. They don't have the same education, the same knowledge, and
Right.
also the new generation. They will not stay for a long time. So.
Right.
Yeah, so and that's fine. That's how it is. They are working hard when they're there, but it's not like you don't have to. You don't really know for sure if you have the same person from now and 20 years ahead. So you
Right.
need to capture the knowledge, and I think that means I can see there are more openness for me when I come and say, let me be another set of eyes. Let me come and help you educate. Let me,
Right.
together do the more documentation, because often it's really difficult to have the time when you are an anodizing company, especially if a job shop where parts are coming in the morning and have to go out the next day. So you really don't have the time to do this. But having someone like me coming in and kind
Right.
of ask the questions, do a deep dive into what's going on. Second set of eyes, as you say, that's definitely important. And I see more companies are saying yes to that compared to 5 years ago.
Right. Well, and I
Yeah,
think the big benefit is, as you said, people are always coming and going, in and out of industries, and to have a constant person, over the years, who sort of knows the process, or actually helping them document, and record the processes, right, so that
yeah,
it's
yeah,
followed. So if somebody does leave, or if somebody retires or whatever, it's that, like I said, that knowledge is not walking out the door, and
yeah,
I think
yeah,
that's something that a lot of manufacturers, especially in anodizing, don't take big advantage of, and
No,
until it's
no.
too late, almost,
Yeah,
right? And
yeah,
then
yeah,
but
yeah,
really to come in and formalize and make sure they're doing it correct with
yeah,
that.
yeah. And I
It's
think,
crucial
yeah,
to do that. Yeah.
definitely. And I think the chemical background I have, I see very often also having the second set of eyes saying, have you thought about, this is chemistry, you need to have the level of the water in the tank the same each time when you take, a test and things like that. And it's kind of like, oh, wow, it's, is that right? So definitely something where I can see I can help people, anodizing companies. So
Right, right. Something that happened, like I said, I think it was a good thing. From the pandemic, right? Was when because I know you've taught many years, many decades. I know here in the U.S. You've done a lot of training and such, and the pandemic sort of forced people to do things remotely, which really presented, you looking back now, probably a pretty good opportunity for you, right?
yeah,
Because to offer your training, you have online training as a separate sort of business that you have. Uh, Talk about that a little bit, how that got started and
yeah,
how that
yeah,
works.
yeah. It was. It actually started because Paul Fisher for the first
Sure.
Surface Finishing Academy was saying, "Hey, shouldn't you go around and do these 2 days workshops?" So I did that while I was living in San Diego at that time, so it makes sense. Um, and then the pandemic came, and as a consultant, you are not. I was not allowed to travel. I was not allowed to go
Right.
anywhere. So I thought, well, instead of getting nuts, then why not doing what I actually had thought about several times? But
Right.
time flies. So I put all the material from the 2 days on-site workshop into the anodizing masterclass e-learning course, and in that way started to have this as a product, which were kind of really different what I have been doing before. So I've done more advertisement after
Mhm.
COVID because of this, because it kind of you need to do it different, selling it different when it's a e-learning course,
Right.
and I believe that being more exposed on the internet with this have actually grown my business. And also, as you say, all people are getting more used to being
Right.
online, so I don't have to fly in to have the first meeting, so we can actually take the first second meeting online and get to know each other. And in that way I have been able to work with different parts in the world that I didn't do before. So that's really,
Right.
that's a new thing. So
Right.
yeah, so
Yeah, it
that's
sounds like you
nice.
enjoy that the education, the presenting, and those type of things. That's something you really, it's really in your heart, that's what you enjoy doing as well.
Yeah, I think that that is probably when I finished my PhD and started my consultant company. I did that immediately after finished my PhD, and then instead of being hired as a consultant, I was actually hired as a quality manager in the biggest anodizing company here in Denmark. But having my own consultant company and seeing the possibilities when you get more focused and consistent in your line
Mm,
really have been, I would say, my yeah, it's something which is close to being a baby of mine. And of course,
right.
together with the pulse anodizing, where you also can increase productivity and save energy. So it's all come into having this possibility to help the companies to a more practical, because I know it's also, of course, you also need to know the theory, but it's also to put it into practical, useful tools. That is nice. Yeah,
Right, right, definitely, yeah. One thing I think you've really given back to the community anodizing industry, and a lot of people don't do this, is you're a very prolific researcher and writer and presenting and sharing thoughts and ideas and those things. And I know that's not easy to write those things. As a writer, I know it's not easy to kind of put those together. Sometimes it's an extremely long time process to do that. You've got research, and then to put it all together. And in the meantime, you're trying to run your business as well. But it does seem like it's something that you have really ingratiated yourself to, of writing your research down, telling people what you've learned, and sharing that, which is very good for the industry with that.
Yeah, and that is, in my belief, I think that by doing this, we are making the cake bigger. So it's kind
Mm-hmm.
of like, we're just growing the business by, sharing knowledge. I don't know if it's because I'm coming from a small country, but it's really important to share. And what
Right.
does it say? No idea is not a good idea if it's not used to anything. So
Right.
I think it's really important to be able to tell people about what you know, because it can help them, and then in the end, hopefully they actually see the benefits and start changing it, and then more people will do aluminum anodizing, and then kind of growing the market. So it's kind of the way to do it, I think. So yeah, so
Right.
I
Yeah.
like that,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, I was going to say it's great. I appreciate you. I know I've used a lot of yours. It's funny, like I said, when you're doing training and you're doing troubleshooting, there's got to be a moment for you when you're working with somebody who's probably struggled, a company, maybe they've struggled with an issue, they can't solve it, and it's, in those type of issues, it's all about it could cost them lots of money if they're not getting it right with that. But there's got to be a moment when you've come in and you've sort of identified maybe what the problem is, and you've run the tests, and you see them have a aha moment that they've realized it, right?
Yeah,
There's got to be a lot of satisfaction in that, to
yeah,
have
yeah,
that,
yeah, yeah,
because you've solved the problem, but you've also really helped a company that might have had some big issues if they hadn't
yeah,
fixed it,
yeah,
right?
yeah. That is really nice, and it I think I'm really also trying to tell the companies that the anodizing it's actually the most important part of the whole aluminum product, because if you're not doing the anodizing well,
Mhm.
you
Right.
cannot use it, because all the properties, corrosion resistant, things like that,
Right.
if it's not well done, customers will be unsatisfied. So I really think that that is what I enjoy a lot, as you say, seeing the aha, but also seeing that they kind of start respecting what they are doing, and seeing that this is important, and start, because that is what I really also try to say, try to higher the price of the anodizing process, because it seems like it's always so cheap, because it's the
Right.
last process step, and but if you have used a lot of money for the machining, it really doesn't make sense to have a cheap anodizing price, because it's much better to actually have a high quality anodizing coating. So it's really to try to tell them that, you know Tim, you wouldn't buy the
Right.
iPhone if it wasn't anodized. So, and there are
Right.
a lot of products which are like that. So, I think being try to see this as a expensive process. Also, that is what I'm trying to put into
Right.
anodizing companies.
Yeah,
Yes,
now's
yeah,
not the, the finishing part is now not the time to go cheap,
no,
because it really enhances whatever's been done to that part,
yeah,
whether it's
yeah,
been machined or whatever it's been. Now's the time to really, I always tell people, in finishing, is that if you're going to make a great dinner, you don't want to go cheap on the ingredients. You want to have the best food you can get. It tastes
exactly,
so
yeah,
much better
yeah,
with those things.
yeah.
But so like I said, I do consider you a legend in the industry, but by no means are you retiring or anywhere close to that. So,
No, no,
like I said,
no.
so let's talk about that again.
Yeah,
People can reach out to you. You still are very active
yeah,
with clients and taking on new clients and things like that,
yeah.
and then your training. Any other ways that you're kind of getting involved with the industry with that, or is it?
Yeah, I have. I've started to also do some. I call it product now, but it's more like,
Mhm.
having a more 10 to 12 weeks cooperation together with the companies, instead of just coming in, putting a lot of knowledge into their head and go back, then actually have
Right.
a longer period of time together and help implementing, because I have seen for all so long that the difficulties is actually to implement what you have gain of knowledge. It's not difficult to get the knowledge because you can get the knowledge on Google and you can get the knowledge to go to conferences, but it's how you actually go back home and start implementing the things. And I can see that this is a market for me to start working in. And maybe, of course, as you say, also being older. So it's also nice to have a longer period with a special and great
Right.
customer of mine. So kind of really feeling not only one aha moment, but more aha moments, and have people looking like, this was really nice to have you. You made a difference, a huge difference, because, you know, if you haven't been here, we haven't been able to, not, I'm not talking about just solving problems. I'm actually talking about getting the terminology in the company,
Right.
and the people to work together, because I've just this morning we're together with the anodizing, one of the anodizing companies here in Denmark I'm working with, and he was saying, like, it's really having the time to be able to do the things right. That is yeah, that
Right.
is the
Yeah, I was gonna
important
say
part.
what's really important, and not only just solving an issue or whatever, but ensuring the repeatability of the quality.
Yeah,
Right. It's got to be
consistency. Yeah,
repeated, the
yeah, yeah,
consistency of it, and that's where
yeah,
companies tend to get in troubles if they're not really paying close attention. Is that repeatability of
yeah,
excellent coverage and everything kind
yeah,
of runs into it. And like you said, you know, with NADCAP and some other things that are happening, which I think are going to get more intense, that traceability is important as well, right?
yeah,
You've got to be
yeah,
able to show how well you're doing this, how
yeah,
you used it. And I think, like I said, it's probably good for every manufacturer who does the anodizing process to have that kind of, like you said, outside look, to come in with an expert and really set them on a path for success, because
yeah, yeah.
that really helps a business. I think it
Yeah,
does
it
with that.
it definitely does, and I think we all actually should, no matter if you have a big or small company, have somebody come in and stay for a while, not forever,
Right.
because also when you have been in a company for a long time, you also start to not seeing things, but being able to be there for a while, that's really great, and it's something I'm working on, being, so I'm kind of putting more time into to get this out, and also um have being able to help more anodizing companies. During my time as a consultant, 75% of my customers are actually end users, the one who are using
Mm,
anodized aluminum parts
sure.
products in their product, and it makes sense. It's nice. I help them with also consistency, making specifications, what to look for, actually buying a thickness measurement device so they actually know that they get the thickness they are buying. Uh, but also, but by trying to go back and talk, see if I can get more anodizers as as customers, it kind of makes it sense to help them instead of helping them who are using anodizing,
Right.
kind of a more sustainable way, kind of. Yeah,
Right, right,
yeah.
great. Well, listen, I appreciate you taking time out. I enjoyed you sharing this information, and I know, like I said, being a legend doesn't mean you're stopping. I know you've got many years, and people will have your website there. People could certainly reach out and see
That's
really
great.
how you can help them, because
Thank you.
that's, I
Yeah,
think, and there's nobody that doesn't need help. That's certainly, you
that's
always kind of
true.
need to
Yeah,
find that.
yeah, yeah.
But thank you for joining us. I
You're
appreciate it.
welcome. Thank you.